Who is Karen? I stared at the text message on my husband's phone. A simple question from someone named Amy that shattered my world in 3 words. I'd only picked up Dave's phone to order our usual Friday takeout while he showered. 12 years of marriage had long ago erased such boundaries between us. The bathroom door opened. Steam billowed out as Dave emerged, towel around his waist, hair dripping. He froze when he saw his phone in my hand, face morphing from relaxed to panicked in an instant. "What are you doing with my phone?" His voice was eerily calm, but his eyes darted between my face and the device. "Who's Amy?" I asked, equally calm, though my heart hammered in my chest. "And who's Karen?" He lunged forward, snatching the phone from my hand with surprising force. "Jesus, Rebecca, it's work stuff." "Work stuff that requires a passcode you never told me about?" My voice remained steady, surprising even myself. "Work stuff that needs a second phone I've never seen before?" His face drained of color. The unfamiliar phone had appeared when he'd accidentally left his jacket pocket unzipped that morning. In 12 years, I'd never once checked his pockets or searched his belongings. Our relationship had been built on what I thought was mutual trust. Dave had always been meticulous about keeping his work and personal life separate, taking his briefcase to his home office immediately after returning from work, handling all our shared finances despite my accounting background because he didn't want me to have to work at home too. "You went through my things?" His voice rose, flipping the script to make me the villain. "Dave." I stood up, feeling my professional analytical mind take over, protecting me from the emotional tsunami threatening to drown me. "Who is Karen?" He stared at me for a long moment before his shoulders slumped. "Me," he whispered. "I'm Karen." I sat across from Dave at our kitchen table, a place where we'd shared thousands of meals, planned vacations, discussed renovations, a mundane setting for the destruction of our life together. The second phone lay between us like a bomb. "Her name is Amy," Dave said, staring at his hands. "We've been together for 11 years. She lives in Monroeville." Monroeville. Just 30 minutes away. My mind calculated instantly. 11 years. Almost our entire marriage. "And who does Amy think I am?" My voice sounded foreign to my ears. "Dave's cousin Rebecca. The accountant from Pittsburgh who helps with taxes sometimes." He couldn't meet my eyes. I felt a hysterical laugh bubble up. "So I've been demoted to a cousin in your other life? Do you have any other wives I should know about?" "It's not like that." "What is it like then, Dave?" I slammed my palm against the table, making him jump. The pain centered me. "Because from where I'm sitting, you've been living a double life for over a decade. So please enlighten me." He took a deep breath. "We have 3 kids." The room tilted sideways. Kids. The one thing we'd agreed we didn't want. The one sacrifice I'd made in my career-focused life to accommodate his apparent disinterest in parenthood. "You have children." It wasn't a question. The betrayal cut deeper than any affair could. 2 boys and a girl. The oldest is 10. 10 years. A decade of lies. My analytical mind started connecting dots, his business trips to Cleveland that happened clockwork regular every other weekend. The strange Thursday night client dinners. The gradual decrease in time spent with my family over holidays. "Does your mother know?" My voice cracked slightly. His eyes darted away, then back. "She knows about the kids. She thinks Amy is a woman I help support because her husband died. Mom thinks she's doing charity work when she knits for them." "Your father?" "Your sister. Dad suspects something, I think, but we never discuss it." "Jenna." He paused, mentioning his sister. "She figured it out 3 years ago when she saw me at a restaurant with Amy. I convinced her it would destroy you to know." My breathing became shallow. "So they know pieces or suspect, but kept silent to protect me? Or to protect you?" "Rebecca, get out." The words were so quiet I barely heard them myself. "Let me explain." "Get out." I screamed, the controlled facade finally cracking. I grabbed the nearest object, a ceramic fruit bowl, and hurled it against the wall. It shattered spectacularly, apple-shaped shards skittering across our pristine floors. Dave backed away, hands raised. I'll go to Amy's tonight. We can talk tomorrow when. Amy's. I laughed, a hollow sound. Yes, go to your real family, Dave. Or should I call you Karen? He winced as if I'd struck him. I never meant to hurt you. 12 years. I stared at him, this stranger I'd shared a bed with. 12 years of my life. Get out before I call the police. After he left, I sat motionless at the kitchen table. The accountant in me started tallying. 12 years of marriage, the joint mortgage, our investment portfolio, the small business consultation firm we'd built together, my partnership track I'd delayed twice for his career moves. Assets and liabilities. Credits and debits. But the devastation in my heart couldn't be quantified so neatly. 3 days passed in a blur of shock. I called in sick to work for the first time in 8 years. Dave tried texting, calling, even sent flowers, all of which went unanswered. My mother urged me to speak with him, not understanding why I'd changed the locks so quickly. Everyone makes mistakes, honey, she said over the phone. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary, Mom. This is a decade-long campaign of deception. Still, you should hear him out. 12 years is a long time to throw away. I hung up, wondering how many more people would minimize what had happened. My sister suggested therapy. My best friend Sarah seemed oddly unsurprised, asking carefully if I'd ever had suspicions, as if I'd been willfully blind. Thank God for Mark Fleming. My college friend and now forensic accountant at a major firm had reacted with the appropriate level of outrage when I called him. That's not a marriage problem, Becca, that's a crime, he'd said firmly. You need a lawyer and possibly the police. What can I do to help? His unwavering support was the lifeline I desperately needed. While my family urged reconciliation and friends awkwardly avoided taking sides, Mark helped me channel my shock into action, offering both emotional support and practical resources. On the 4th day, I drove to Monroeville. I didn't have an address, but I had a name and Dave's predictable patterns. He'd always insisted on handling our taxes himself, despite my accounting expertise. Now I understood why he needed to cover the financial trail to his second life. At the county records office, I requested property tax information for David Martin. There were 3 matches in Monroeville. The first belonged to an elderly couple. The second was a rental property. The third listed the owners as David and Amy Martin on Cherry Hill Drive. My hands shook as I plugged the address into my GPS. Cherry Hill Drive was in an upscale suburban neighborhood with wide streets and large houses set back on manicured lawns. I parked 2 houses down from 1422, a 2-story colonial with blue shutters, a basketball hoop in the driveway, and a swing set visible in the backyard. I'd imagined this moment for days, but now that I was here, uncertainty paralyzed me. What was my objective? Confrontation? Verification? A twisted desire to see the life Dave had chosen over our own? As I debated my next move, the front door opened. A woman emerged, early 30s, pretty in an understated way, with shoulder-length brown hair. She shepherded 3 children into a silver SUV, 2 dark-haired boys who looked like miniature versions of Dave, and a smaller girl with braided hair clutching a pink backpack. Amy and Dave's children. My husband's secret family. The reality hit me with physical force, driving the air from my lungs. This wasn't some sordid affair. This was a fully formed life running parallel to my own, complete with carpools and backpacks and a home that looked like it belonged in a family sitcom. As Amy pulled out of the driveway, the little girl in the back seat looked directly at my car. For a terrifying moment, I thought she recognized me somehow, this stranger lurking outside her home. But she simply waved, a child's innocent greeting to a neighbor. I couldn't bring myself to wave back. You followed my family? Dave's voice thundered through the phone that evening. Are you insane? I'd expected him to call after Amy reported a suspicious car on their street. Your family, I repeated. Interesting choice of words, given that I'm your legal wife. Rebecca, this is stalking. You can't just. 3 kids, Dave. My voice remained deadly calm. You told me you didn't want children. With you, he said, then immediately backpedaled. I mean, in our situation. Our situation being your first marriage? The hysterical laughter threatened again. Help me understand the timeline here. Did you marry me first, then decide one wife wasn't enough? Or were you already with Amy when you proposed? Silence stretched between us. Dave, I met Amy in college, he finally said. We were together before I met you. The implications sank in slowly. So I was the affair. No, it wasn't like that. I loved you both, just differently. Differently, I echoed. And the children? When did you decide to have them with her, but not with me? Amy always wanted kids, and her parents needed us nearby to help care for them as they aged. It just made sense to build that life there. While building a different life with me, I finished for him. A life explicitly without children because you didn't see yourself as father material. Those were your exact words, Dave. Rebecca, please. Can we meet in person? There's so much to explain. I never wanted to hurt either of you. I hung up without answering, a strange calm settling over me. The shock was receding, replaced by cold clarity. Dave hadn't just betrayed me with another woman, he'd stolen my choices. While I delayed having children to support his apparent wishes, he was raising 3 with someone else. The next morning, I contacted a divorce attorney. He's been transferring funds to a separate account for years, I told my lawyer, Julia Hernandez, sliding bank statements across her desk. Small amounts, nothing I'd notice without specifically looking. But it adds up to over $340,000. Julia whistled softly. And you had no knowledge of this account? None. I'd spent the weekend forensically examining our finances, putting my accounting skills to work. When we started our consulting business 5 years ago, Dave insisted on handling all the financial aspects. He claimed it would let me focus on clients without the additional stress. I trusted him completely. I'm a CPA who never looked at her own balance sheets because my husband wanted to take care of me. I laughed bitterly at my own naivety. He also took out a second mortgage on our home 3 years ago without my knowledge. That's not possible without your signature, Julia frowned. It is if someone forges it. I placed another document on her desk. That's not my signature, though it's a decent attempt. Given my profession, I should have noticed the financial irregularities years ago, but Dave created this perfect system where I was too busy with clients to look at our personal finances, and he handled everything for the business behind the scenes. Julia studied the paper. This is serious fraud, Rebecca. Beyond the bigamy issue, he's committed multiple financial crimes. I know. I'd been numb for days, but now anger was replacing the shock. I want everything documented. I want him to face consequences. Bigamy cases are rare, but they do happen. With the financial fraud on top, Julia tapped her pen against her legal pad. Rebecca, this could potentially result in criminal charges, not just civil penalties. Are you prepared for that? Was I prepared to see Dave, my husband of 12 years, the man I'd built a life with, potentially go to jail? A week ago, the question would have been unthinkable. Now, I found myself nodding. I need to know something first, I said. Is his marriage to me legal if he was already married to her? That depends. Do you know if he and Amy are legally married? They could be in a common law situation. I shook my head. I found their marriage license. They were married 14 years ago in Ohio. Julia's expression softened with sympathy. Then no, Rebecca. Your marriage was never legally valid if he was already married. I'm sorry. The words should have devastated me, but instead I felt an odd relief. Maybe I hadn't been a wife at all, but merely an elaborate side piece in Dave's complicated life. The thought was strangely liberating. What about our business? I asked. We're equal partners on paper. That we can protect, Julia assured me. And depending on the jurisdiction's approach to putative spouse doctrine, you may still have claims to marital property despite the invalid marriage. I gathered my documents, a new determination flowing through me. I want to talk to her, to Amy. Julia's eyebrows shot up. I strongly advise against that until we've filed. Any confrontation could complicate matters. It's not about confrontation, I explained. She deserves to know everything too. For all I know, she's as much a victim as I am. Finding Amy took some investigation. I couldn't simply trust public records for someone my husband had been hiding for years. I contacted Mark, my college friend who now worked in private investigation, the only person who'd reacted with appropriate outrage when I told him about Dave's betrayal. "You're sure you want to do this?" Mark had asked, but he understood my need for answers. Using professional databases not available to the public and calling in favors from contacts in county records, Mark located 3 possible addresses for David Martin in Monroeville. More importantly, he found Amy's occupation through cross-referenced employment records. She worked as a pharmacy technician at Monroeville General Hospital. I waited in the hospital cafe during her lunch break, recognizing her immediately from the photo Mark had procured when she entered with a coworker. Amy Martin? I approached their table after her friend left to get coffee. She looked up, confusion crossing her features as she tried to place me. Yes, my name is Rebecca Martin. I sat down across from her. Dave's wife. Her coffee cup froze halfway to her lips. You mean his cousin? From Pittsburgh? The genuine confusion in her expression confirmed my suspicion. She didn't know about me either. Not the real me. No, Amy. I mean his wife of 12 years. The one he lives with in Pittsburgh 4 days a week. The color drained from her face. For a long moment, she said nothing, her eyes searching mine for any sign I was lying. That's not possible, she finally whispered. We've been married 14 years. We have 3 children. I know. I kept my voice gentle. I saw them the other day. They look like him. Why are you doing this? Her voice hardened, denial kicking in. If this is some kind of sick joke. Check his location on Thursday nights, I interrupted. Call him at the office when he's supposedly working late. Ask him about the tattoo on his right shoulder blade, the one he got last year after losing a bet with coworkers. Amy's eyes widened at the mention of the tattoo. How did you? Because I was there when he got it. For our 10th anniversary. Her hands began to shake. Dave doesn't have a tattoo. A small compass rose, about 2 inches across. He said it represented finding his true north. Amy abruptly stood, gathering her things with trembling hands. I need to go. Amy. I slid my business card across the table. I'm not trying to hurt you. I only found out myself last week. I thought you should know before the lawyers get involved. She stared at the card, Rebecca Martin, CPA, with my office address and phone number, proof of my identity that would be easy to verify. 14 years, she whispered. 3 kids. How could she broke off, pressing a hand to her mouth. I've been asking myself the same question about my 12 years, I said quietly. Call me if you want to talk. Amy called the next day. He denied everything at first, she said, her voice hoarse from crying. Then he claimed you were a stalker, a client who'd become obsessed with him. But I checked your company website. Found your picture. Called your office. What did he say when you confronted him with the facts? That he loves us both. That he never meant for it to happen this way. She gave a bitter laugh. He actually said he was trying to protect everyone from getting hurt. The familiar justifications made me wince. By living a double life for over a decade? According to Dave, he tried to end things with you early on, but you were going through family problems, your father's illness, and he couldn't bring himself to add to your pain. My father had died of cancer 11 years ago. Dave had been surprisingly supportive during that terrible time, never complaining about the weekends spent at the hospital or the emotional toll it took on me. So he claims he stayed with me out of pity? The thought stung more than I expected. He says it became more complicated over time. That he developed real feelings for you, separate from his feelings for me and the kids. Amy's voice cracked, as if that makes it better. We talked for over an hour, comparing notes on our shared husband. Dave had constructed elaborate systems to maintain his deception, separate credit cards, carefully segregated friend groups, a detailed calendar that accounted for every hour. Did you know his mother knits Christmas stockings for your children every year? I asked. She told me she was making them for her church charity drive. Did you know he's been coaching our son's baseball team for 4 seasons? Amy countered. What was his excuse for those Saturday mornings? Golf league. The absurdity struck me suddenly, and I laughed, a genuine laugh, surprising us both. Amy joined in after a moment, her laughter tinged with tears. God, we sound insane. Comparing notes on our shared husband like he's a book club selection. A horror novel, I suggested, which only made us laugh harder. When the laughter subsided, a strange companionship had formed between us, 2 women united by betrayal. What are you going to do? I asked finally. Kick him out, for starters, Amy said firmly. Then figure out how to explain to 3 kids why Daddy isn't living at home anymore. I've already contacted a lawyer about the bigamy and financial fraud. Amy was silent for a moment. Will he go to jail? Possibly. Does that bother you? It should, shouldn't it? He's my children's father. She sighed heavily. But right now, I'm too angry to care. Me too, I admitted. Though technically, you're his legal wife, not me. I'm just nothing, legally speaking. You're not nothing, Rebecca, Amy said firmly. You're another woman whose life he stole. We both deserve better. Dave came to the house the following weekend, using his old key, which no longer worked thanks to the change locks. We need to talk, he called through the door. Rebecca, please. You've been talking to Amy. You 2 are making a huge mistake. I opened the door but blocked the entrance. The mistake was made 14 years ago when you decided one wife wasn't enough. It wasn't like that. His face looked haggard, with several days' stubble and dark circles under his eyes. I never meant for any of this to happen. For 12 years. I raised an eyebrow. You accidentally maintained 2 separate households and families for over a decade? I got trapped, he pleaded. I met you right after Amy and I got married. We were having problems, and you were so different from her, focused, ambitious, exciting. I fell in love with you too. So divorce her and marry me legally. Or don't pursue me at all. Those were your ethical options, Dave. I couldn't hurt Amy like that. And then she got pregnant, and... Stop. I held up a hand. Every choice had alternatives. You chose the path of maximum deception. He slumped against the doorframe. What do you want from me now? Money? The house? The business? Take it all. Just don't go to the police. The mention of police made his real concern clear: consequences. You stole 12 years of my life, Dave. You made decisions about my future without my knowledge or consent. My voice remained steady, though fury burned beneath. While I delayed having children to accommodate what I thought were your wishes, you were raising 3 with someone else. I'm sorry, he whispered. Sorry you did it, or sorry you got caught? He had no answer for that. Amy and I have both retained lawyers, I informed him. Mine is particularly interested in the second mortgage you took out using my forged signature. His face paled. Rebecca, please. Think about what this will do to the kids. I have thought about them. That's why I've been talking with Amy, to coordinate how to minimize the damage to them while still holding you accountable. You've been what? Confusion replaced the fear on his face. Turns out, your wives get along quite well. We're having dinner tomorrow to discuss next steps with both our attorneys. Dave looked genuinely terrified now. You can't do this. We already are. I began closing the door. Oh, and Dave? The business accounts have been frozen pending investigation. You might want to find a good criminal attorney. 6 months later, I sat across from Amy in a quiet restaurant, sharing a bottle of wine as our lawyers finalized the divorce settlements, her actual divorce, and my annulment, coupled with fraud claims. How are the kids doing? I asked. Amy smiled sadly. Better, actually. Tyler's grades are improving, and Emma's stopped having nightmares. It helps that Dave's been consistent with visitation. After facing potential criminal charges, Dave had agreed to a plea deal, financial restitution, community service, and probation instead of jail time. The arrangement allowed him to maintain his relationship with his children while facing real consequences for his actions. And you? I studied her face, noticing less strain around her eyes than months before. Some days are harder than others. Amy twirled her wine glass. But I'm dating again. Slowly. Good for you. I meant it sincerely. Our unlikely friendship had become one of the few positive outcomes of this ordeal. Two women who should have been rivals instead became allies, navigating the wreckage of one man's duplicity together. What about you? Amy asked. Taking that job in Chicago? I nodded. The firm made a great offer, and there's nothing keeping me in Pittsburgh anymore. The business Dave and I had built together had been sold, the proceeds split according to our settlement. Except your mother, Amy reminded me gently, who has already booked 3 visits to Chicago for next year. I smiled. What about your plans for the pharmacy program? Enrolled for fall semester. Amy's eyes lit up. The settlement money means I can finally finish my degree without working full-time. We clinked glasses, toasting our new beginnings. You know what's weird? Amy said after a moment. Sometimes I miss him, not the real Dave, but the person I thought he was. Is that crazy? No, I sighed. I get it. I've caught myself remembering good times too, before immediately reminding myself it was all built on lies. Do you think he ever truly loved either of us? Amy asked quietly. I considered the question. I think Dave loves the idea of being loved, of being central to someone's world. One person's adoration wasn't enough. Amy nodded slowly. 2 separate lives where he could be the hero in both stories. Exactly. I raised my glass again. To no longer being characters in Dave's fiction. And to writing our own stories from now on, Amy added. As we finished our wine, I felt a weight lifting that I hadn't even realized I was still carrying. 12 years of my life had been built on deception, but the future belonged entirely to me. No hidden agendas, no secret families, no lies. It was time to start over, older but infinitely wiser. Was I wrong to team up with the other woman instead of fighting her? Would you have pressed criminal charges or found another way to move forward?